Right. Okay. So back to where we left off. Essentially, I'm just gonna have a scroll through these articles for literally 30 seconds and just waffle on about what's happened with Bitslato. In a nutshell, it was a sort of pseudo-criminal exchange that processed a ridiculous amount of funds as its percentage. You could see here somewhere in this, I don't remember which article specifically had 46% written on it, but it was 46% that they had processed. Sorry, 46% of the total money that they had processed that ended up being linked to illicit funds, which I mean isn't a very good ratio. Isn't something that you could just sort of wave off and say, yeah, this was coincidence. This was slipping through the net. Yeah, almost half of all Bitslato transactions linked to criminal activities. Doesn't say 46% there. It says, oh, there we go. About 46% of the assets. Yeah. So essentially what this had meant for the entire industry, especially for the proximity with Binance specifically in this situation, is it had meant that essentially no one really knew how much of the Bitslato money was legitimate, how much of that money had serious legal implications for whoever was processing it at the time, whoever was holding it at the time. Because again, even though it gets passed down, as we all know, if you buy a stolen car, that car is still stolen, that car is still going to get repossessed, whether you bought it knowing it was stolen or not. And much the same goes here, although most of the funds weren't stolen. It's more of a case of money laundering, it's more of a case of illicit money, but the principle still stands. You essentially there won't be anywhere near this stuff both as a business, as an individual. It's just, it's a formality, but at the same time, it's just kind of how the world works. It's a formality we have for a reason. We don't want to be enabling criminals. So in a nutshell, this has triggered Binance to do what we're doing, except of course Binance, even here it says that Binance has blocked some accounts amid the Bitslato case. And that's kind of not just Binance doing this. It's a lot of the other exchanges that had a knock-on effect, either by proximity to Binance or by proximity to Bitslato itself. So it's a sticky situation that we really have no way out of, because as we've detailed very, very clearly, we are trying to have a squeaky clean legal record as we build up towards the C.A.T fund. And more importantly than that, just in general, we're trying to have a squeaky clean legal record for two reasons. One, it's beneficial to the community. It's beneficial to us as a company. It's just, it's basic. It's business 101. You don't want to be on the wrong side of the law. But the second reason that it's so beneficial to us to have this squeaky clean record is because in crypto in particular, legislators tend to have a disproportionately heavy hand to the weight of their brain. They tend to sort of shoot first and ask questions later a lot of the time. And that's not a risk we want to take, because as a community-driven initiative, we're not playing around with our own money, and we're not playing around with big investor money who is going to, pull some strings and make everything be fine. That's not how we work. We're a community-driven initiative. We can't just be taking these kinds of risks. And we can't just be kicking the can down the road because, well, as always, you will run out of road. So I've said this before and I'll say it again. It was a necessary circumstantial decision that we had to take. I stand by that decision fully. And really, there's not much more to say to that end, but I just wanted to bring up a couple of articles and I just wanted to show you guys what's going on, what sort of the digital footprint of the situation is. Obviously, this is on the Europol website. You could just put in Bitslato into your search engine, just have a read for yourself. Really, there's nothing special here. It's essentially just what we've described it to be. Moving on though, onwards and upwards. I think now it's time that we sort of ditch that theme and we talk a bit more about what's going on with the platform, what's going to be going on with the platform, and how we're going to grow past this setback to essentially just, come back even better, even stronger, and somewhat adjusted to a more mainstream audience too, with the lower percentages. But essentially, the one thing I want to really make an accent on today of the presentation that I glossed over it last time because last time I was so focused on our new numbers. But we are also going to be adding a live trading bot onto the website. And as you can see here, it's going to look something like this, or alternatively, I'll get onto it later, but have a line like this as well. We haven't entirely finalized exactly what it's going to look like, but the premise of it is finalized. The code behind it's finished. So it's all well and good. It's just a matter of digitally integrating it, visually, sorry, integrating it into the website. God, I mix words a lot. Okay. Back on track with the bot. I've shown you the graphics. I'll show you the graphics again later, but essentially the idea with this bot is to have real-time live accountability. And what I mean by that is, of course, there's going to be a delay. We're going to put certain, safety measures in to make sure that people can't just go on there and just through a WebSocket copy exactly what we're doing, because that's basically how we work here with this bot. Is it's just the WebSocket to the Binance order book, and then it calculates arbitrage opportunities. Of course, this one doesn't follow through with the arbitrage opportunities. This one's sort of a boiled down display version of the bot, but it's the same premise and it's the same mechanism. So really, we don't want to make this exactly functional, because we're just then putting out company secrets for everyone to see. But in a nutshell, yep, this is essentially going to be an overview of how we work. It's going to feature live updates, of course, somewhat adjusted, but only in the time frame in which we serve them. It kind of is the idea here, sort of like a Twitch stream, or like even one of those more old-fashioned exchanges with the big boards, that you see Wolf of Wall Street style. We're going for that kind of feel on the platform. Once you actually get onto the the platform rather than our website, we're going for that feel of live trading, live interaction, because I think it's one of the most important things to drive home is business never stops here, and 24/7 someone somewhere is sitting and monitoring hundreds, and I mean hundreds of transactions every minute. So that's what it comes down to. Again, the bot is a boiled down version, but this is what we wanted to add and why we wanted to add it. I guess the bot being covered, I did want to add a bit more to the bot, but I'll come back later. In the interest of time, I'll just quickly gloss over what I've shown on Tuesday, which was, of course, our new percentages for the C.A.T bonus, and also our new percentages for the C.A.T platform itself, our rewards. So we've taken them down a notch. We've made it more sustainable as we move towards sort of incorporating ourselves and diversifying from just being an arbitrage platform. It's important that these numbers kind of scale with that and scale with our ambitions. In regards to the C.A.T bonus, again, we've taken it down a notch, but we've kept the top-heavy idea where the first 2-3 levels are really what you want to be working towards, because the idea isn't that you have, hundreds of thousands of millions of people. The idea is more that you reward yourself for bringing on your close ones and for bringing on people you love and care about. The idea is that it's a little thank you from us, basically. And that thank you has to be proportional to your direct contribution, if it were. So, that's why we've kept it sort of exactly as it is, but just toned down a little bit. What else did I... Sorry, I'm having a really hard time thinking back to Tuesday and trying to, yeah. Right, I'm sorry about that. I just got a phone call. Cool. Okay, So we've gone over the percentages, we've gone over the new smart contract. Back to the bot, essentially, all I really wanted to say is this isn't the full mechanism. This is a part of the mechanism. Essentially, the way this would usually work is you would have one more step to the process, which is just the execution stage, which essentially is, you go back, plug the data that you've. So the first step, okay, I'll explain this step by step. I haven't really set myself up well for the explanation. The first step is sort of getting data directly from the order book on Binance through a WebSocket into the bot. And the way this works is essentially, think of a live stream, think of, I don't know, Twitch, YouTube, whatever it is, that's feeding data to you live from another source, I suppose, of data. And in the same way, this would feed directly prices live from the Binance order book into our bot. Now, the second stage of this would be to then compute for triangular arbitrage opportunities, which essentially, in a nutshell, is just very basic, very, very basic maths to find an opportunity that would let us make money by transacting from one to the second, and then to the third, and then back to the first, which is what triangular arbitrage is. You also have reverse triangular arbitrage, which is essentially, so you have forward triangular arbitrage, which is what I've described. You've got currency A that you exchange to currency B, then you exchange currency B to C, and then C back to A. That's forwards, that's traditional. But then you have reverse, which is the opposite of that. Essentially, you're short selling when it's high instead of selling when it's low. Sorry, the other way around. You're short selling when you're high instead of buying when it's low, and then you're buying when it's lower, essentially on another exchange again, but you're just doing the same process in reverse, and that's what reverse triangular arbitrage is. I hope that makes sense, and if it doesn't, I'd be happy to think of a better explanation, because I don't tend to explain things too good. But the third step, of course, of the process would be tacked onto that is just then, once it's found an opportunity, plug that into the trading API and actually execute the trade. The most difficult part of this is the speed with which it needs to happen, which we've worked very, very hard to optimize. So say, WebSockets could do like 80 messages per second, or they could, so sort of 10 milliseconds a message, which just isn't really good enough for us. We want the whole thing to be, over and done with in 5 milliseconds. And so there had to be a lot of optimization that went into that. We had to rent servers very close to where servers of those exchanges are to just, minimize that even further, cut that down. There's a lot of little things, little details that go into optimizing it. But in a nutshell, visually, you are getting the gist of exactly how we work. There are a few more things I want to add, but I don't know if we have the time, because I'm getting a lot of questions here as well. I'm getting them forwarded to me now. So let's just go over the design, and then I'll answer you guys' questions, and then I think we could call it there. Let me have a look. Okay, so first things first, the brand book. This is the new brand book that we've had in the works for quite some time, and this is a complete reimagining of our platform from the ground up. Color scheme, fonts, drawings, everything has been completely rethought and completely redesigned to, rather than, represent C.A.T the way I saw C.A.T when I was just founding the company and when I was just sort of, laying down the groundwork. This is here to represent C.A.T the way that C.A.T is today. This is here to really, especially the logo is here to drive home a message with that lightning bolt, the message of energy, strength, as it says here, the message of power, and the message, of course, still, of the cat. It's still a paw. It's got a lightning through it, but it's still very much a paw. So I very much like this logo. We've had a few designs come in that were nowhere near as good. So I'm very happy with this. I'd like to know what you guys think too, of course, but I'm personally super, super happy with this. So I guess let us know. I'll be having a read as well of all the feedback, but more of the logo. So here it is on different backgrounds. These are the colors we'll be looking at. That's all more bright So we've taken the same gradient feel, but we've made it a bit more bright. We've made it a bit more colorful, a bit more energetic. You know, this looks like something that's like a Lucozade advert, or like something sporty, something vibrant. We really wanted to move away from just the purple to a brighter and more sort of full spectrum design. So here you see, of course, just logo construction, little bits and bobs that don't really need to dwell on. We're going minimum sizes, and now we've got the color palette. So essentially, just scrolling through this, as I've said, these are the colors. Of course, we've still got our gradient, which we'll be using quite a lot, but as I've said, yeah, we've reimagined it to be a lot more vibrant. Typography, again, so we've got some new fonts that we've been thinking of that we think would look much better with this style. Our current font is great, but it's important to have more than one. And again, I think this, you know, when you design something around the font, it just looks so much better. And this has been designed around the fonts that we're using. So again, in my opinion, it's just such an elevation. It's just such a step up. I absolutely love this stuff. Like the moment that this came in finalized, I was honestly so excited. Like, look at this stuff. Look at this stuff. Does this not just look so much better? Is this not just such a massive step up? And then, of course, we've got elements. So we've got different, you know, like this is what a poster would look like. This is what a pen would look like. So these guys have really gone out of their way to think of everything, to think what it would look like on different materials, to think what it would look like as merchandise, to think what it would look like, you know, outside the context of the platform, outside the context of media. So, like, you know, just little mock-ups, hoodies, shirts, all sorts of things, passes. This is a very detailed brand book. And I'm very, very happy with how the new designs came out. So, I think with this, yeah, there we go, now it's scrolled. Yeah, it is a massive file as well. Like, you could zoom into this thing and it'll take ages to even zoom in. You can see how clear everything is. This literally took like 20 minutes to open. It is a ridiculously big file, but hey ho, the things we do for good design. The other thing, of course, is intermediary update. So the bot we want to push out ASAP, and here it's sort of a mock-up of how it would look like on the current platform. Obviously, other things remain more or less the way they are, but here, so this is the concept I'm most fond of. We've had a few. There's the one in the presentation here as a sort of pop-up idea. It's one of the ideas floating around as well around the office, but this is the one that I've really come to, you know, prefer, I suppose, over the other ones, is a sort of live scroll slash, I suppose, maybe it'll not scroll. We haven't decided how we're going to animate it yet. Maybe it'll flash, maybe it'll scroll, maybe it, you know, there's ways of doing it really on the front end, but it comes down to this idea of sort of top and bottom bar, sort of header and footer kind of thing, where you'll have live updates coming in about the community down at the bottom and about the trades up at the top, which again, I think is really, really neat. I think it adds a vibe of, you know, live goings on. It really drives the point home that right now, as we speak, we are trading, we are in business, we never stop, which is such an important message because, you know, it's just not, it's so out of the ordinary in the traditional finance world that you have a 24/7 global operation. Of course, it's not too out of the ordinary on a scale when we're talking about banks or we're talking about, but in the sense of, you know, in the sense of this kind of community-driven grassroots initiative, it is very important that we drive the point home that we're always here and we're always working, because otherwise, you know, people just don't understand it. They don't expect it. It's not the industry standard. So this is part of the reason that I've really, really, really enjoyed working on this design with our designers, and part of the reason that I really think it's essential we add this even before we have the new platform finalized. Now, talking of the new platform, that's the wrong window. Talking of the new platform, here is a brief look at that. I won't really zoom in or go over the text because, again, none of this is finalized, and this is more at the This is more at the design stage. This is a Figma. This isn't a website or anything like that just yet. But we'll be looking at all sorts of things. We want to have a lot more. We want to have a lot more involvement from our individual community members. We want to reflect that on the website. There's a lot of new things that we're thinking of adding. None of this is final, which is why I'm not really zooming in. We want to have more of an information section. We want to have more about the team. There is so much more to add, and there is so much more work to be done that I'm really looking forward to doing. And essentially, a big part of the process so far with the new platform has been brainstorming all of these things, has been formalizing all of that brainstorming into something that actually, you could present to the rest of the team and you can discuss as an idea that actually, is already in process. An idea that's more than an idea at this point, is you can discuss it as a proposal rather than an idea. So yeah, I really just wanted to share this very quickly. This one here is more about accountability than anything else. This isn't something we'll be implementing tomorrow by any stretch of the imagination, but I think it's so important that you guys know what we're up to. And I think now it's so important that you guys let us know what you think, because to be honest, I am incredibly excited by this. I think it looks amazing. I think it's just such a revamp. Do you know what I mean? It's just a new vibe. It's the start of even more good things for us. It really is. This I'm sorry, I'm smiling right now. I find it even hard to talk. This, honestly, even if we go back to I've closed the brand book, haven't I? Or I'm dwelling on this for too long, way too long. The last thing I wanted to show you is this, which essentially is some concepts we've had for the new platform internally. So that was the website I've just showed you, but this is the platform. And again, this is based very heavily off of my, off of my thought process that you need to drive the point home that this is all going on now. That this isn't something that's somewhere behind the scenes and you get paid interest once a month. This isn't some, bank with an easy UI that no one ever really has to, think past. This is a real platform with us sort of, hamsters in wheels behind the scenes doing all of this. I think you can't see my mouse, actually. I've just realized I've been sort of mousing over things this entire time. Essentially, I think that's the end of the show and tell, really. And we'll move on to the questions, just seeing as we're coming up to 2:15, and I'll probably have to leave around 5. Okay, so I think the first question is this. You've already seen this because I've accidentally closed out of a window, but a lot of people have been asking me where exactly did I get the mask. Essentially, when we were just starting up the project, when I had to think of how I'm going to brand myself, how I'm going to put myself out there, how to play on the anonymity in a way that adds to the brand, in a way that adds character, and in a way that sort of adds charisma. When I was just going through that thought process for the first time, I had the idea that, seeing as we are C.A.T, crypto arbitrage theme, but also C.A.T, I should go with a C.A.T mask. And we ordered, I think, 6 or 7, some ridiculous number of masks. We ordered a few of them, and we just picked this one because it looked the best. We returned all the others. But yeah, that's the short story of how I got the mask. I mean, I think if you just look up Party Hop, it seemed to be the name of it. So, I mean, if you look up Party Hop Siamese C.A.T mask, you should be able to find that. This obviously is in the UK, so across the world, I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, this is the mask that I'm using. I've had to cut a lot of holes in it. I've had to cut incisions in the back and around where my mouth is, just so I could breathe and so you can hear me. But it is actually still ridiculously difficult to breathe in this. I'm not wearing it right now, which is why I have the camera off. If I was wearing this for 40 minutes for an hour, I think I'd actually die. So definitely not uniform at the office by any means. But yeah, there's the mask. Let's have a look at the actual questions now, because this one really stuck with me. I really like the fact that you guys like the mask. It was it was a quick decision, but at the same time, I think it was a very good decision to, put the mask on and put myself out there, because we could have gotten spokespeople, we could have gotten, we do have representatives, obviously, but I could have had someone personally represent me. There's other ways of doing it, but I think, yeah, I think I like the mask. I've always liked the mask, and I'm glad you guys like the mask. So there it is. There's the mask in all its glory. And for only £16.99, it could be yours. Right. First question from Anan. By stopping trading. And as we are still trading, we are still generating new profits, which means that when the platform goes live fully again, you'll be able to withdraw all those profits, you'll be able to reinvest all those profits, you'll be able to do whatever it is you really want to do. And this is what I sort of briefly glossed over on Tuesday, is don't focus on the negatives, because at the end of the day, sure, this is a bit of a holdback for us, but we were due to launch the new numbers. We were due to launch the new percentages already by sort of the start of February. So in 3 days' time, latest would have been when we come out with the update. But now you've got a little bit of extra time with the old percentages. So don't focus on the negatives too much, and think of it more as, time that you get right now that you wouldn't have otherwise had to enjoy the 3% or 4% or 5% or whatever bracket you happen to fall into before that goes away. Of course, if you'd like to add in some more money for that period, then you can, but it's only now we're looking at around a week. So the change is coming soon, and really, essentially, I guess if you've missed it, you've missed it at this point. But yeah, hope that answers it. How are the customers from the USA affected by changes? Well, we don't actually operate in the USA, just because US regulators are the worst. Like, I'll be honest, US regulators are just the bloody worst. So in terms of how US customers specifically are affected by the changes, I mean, in the same way as everyone else, the whole sort of, our whole mantra has been that we're trying to be very global, and we're trying to be past the reach of any specific nation or any specific legislator or anything like that. So really, you'll only be affected in the same way as everyone else, which is that you have to wait for a little bit to withdraw all your profits, and that's about it. And the platform works exactly as it always did. Timothy wins. I think we should sell the cat mask for 25 BNB. No, it's £16.99. That's about what? 0.06? I don't know. 0.006. Sorry, it's nothing serious. In terms of a cat clothing line, well, I did just show the brand book with hoodies and shirts and pens and other things. That was obviously mock-ups, but I am considering this. We do have shirts when we have yacht parties and other VIP events. We bring out shirts and posters and all that kind of stuff, but that's just formalities. And as we go further down the line, of course, as the new design language is integrated into the entirety of our communications, so like new platform goes live, everything on social media gets rehauled, YouTube gets rehauled. So once we're past that hurdle, we could have a look at, we might sell a shirt, we might sell a hoodie, we might sell a cap. Why the hell not, honestly? Like, if people want it, we'll sell it. It's as simple as that. If you guys, if all of you guys want a hat, if all of you guys want a hoodie, I mean, hell, why the hell not? Raise your hand right now if you want a Crypto Arbitrage team shirt or hoodie or, I don't know, cap, anything like that. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Yep, 20 people, 25 people. Jesus, 30 people. Yeah, okay. Clearly, 40 people. That is amazing. That is absolutely amazing. I didn't think that many people would want one. That is 50 people, 60 people. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I mean, I get the point, guys. I get the point. We'll come out with something at some point. It has been discussed before, and it's just one of those things that, it goes on the back burner very, very much so for well, we've just got bigger fish to fry in the meantime. But we will, sooner or later we will, and that is I suppose a promise, because I kind of want one as well. So yeah. Next question from Vin. This is the new plan, CAT 2.0 fixed until the end of this year. Project, or is there still more changes like reduction in the rewards percentage? So the new plan is a two-tier plan. Essentially, we are going to have a second reduction to 25%, but it will be a gradual reduction rather than a big jump. 25% monthly, that is from 45% monthly, which is what we're going to now. Essentially, in terms of, is this going to be, right, sorry, I keep getting messages. Is there still more changes like reduction in rewards percentage? Well, yes, but not in the same way and not as suddenly, I suppose. We did want to have this big jump because we're moving to a new platform. It made sense because, you know, it has to happen either now or later. So we kind of just did it with the new platform. It's a new look, it's a new feel, and it just makes more sense at this step of the journey. Will our version 1 rewards, not reinvested, be available at the same amount or the new site not recalculated for a lower percent? Can we withdraw them on February 9th? Right, so will your version 1 rewards be available? Well, again, as I've said already, I'll gloss over this because I think I've already pretty much answered this, but your rewards are staying at the old percentage. Once we have finance back, then your rewards are yours to withdraw or to reinvest. Though again, you can reinvest them now too. So really, like if you're trying to compound, especially on the old percentage, you should be trying to compound. But if you're trying to do that right now, there is no real reason to wait for people to come around. Really, compounding is something you should be doing daily if you are going for that. So yeah, I suppose the answer to that question, the short answer is yes, you will get the old percentage rewards. When we make the jump is when we make the jump. But until then, well, it's business as usual, as I've said. From Ashutosh Sharma, how many years your company will do business in crypto market? Can I do business with CAT for lifetime? Of course you can. And as long as crypto market is, yeah, that is, couldn't have said it better myself. That is exactly what crypto arbitrage is about. As long as there are cryptocurrencies, there will be crypto arbitrage. As long as it's decentralized, as long as there's plenty of exchanges, there's plenty of players at the table, there will always be crypto arbitrage. It's really as simple as that. So yeah, I suppose the answer to that question is yes as well. Will we see some extra percent as per daily trading from Rastislav? Will we see some? I can't say I understand this question too well. I'm assuming you're referring to bonuses in regards to so yeah, 2.2, 2.7. This is essentially you're going to have a base bracket, and then you're going to be paid bonuses based on your contribution, your deposit. I can't say I understand the question too well, I'll be honest. A lot of CAT ask a question. Yeah. From OMOT. Why don't CAT give one-time bonus of 10% rather than a multi-level bonus program, which assumes substantial portion of profits and left the investors a small percentage of ROI? Again, I can't say I understand this one too well. Really, if you're asking about, so why don't we give a one-time bonus for bringing someone on rather than a recurring bonus? It's very simple. Again, it's about, showing. It's the same reason that we've gone with. It's the same reason that we've gone with this sort of breakdown where it cascades down. It's because you want to show proportionally to sort of how much we value your contribution. So say if it's a direct contribution, if you've brought someone on, it's 10%, then 7%, then so it's about continuously, because the money is always in the arbitrage cycle. The money's not gonna go somewhere, even if you withdraw it. Sure, at that point, like you're not going to be reinvesting, you're not going to be getting a CAT bonus, but the whole point is to reflect the fact that the change you've made by bringing someone on is continuous. The whole point is to have that built into the platform. And in terms of small percent left investors with a small percentage of ROI. Again, if you're referring to like whether the percentage is taken out of people's investment, no, it's just a bonus that we pay on top. So part of the reason we've had to nerf it is because a lot of the bonuses we were paying were coming out of our 20 million. Excuse me. Were coming out of our 20 million that we were trading as founders. So it's just one of those things we had to dial down a notch, just to, you know, again, make it more sustainable. Any more questions? I got these sent to me, so I'm not sure. I'm not actually in the group chat. Oh, someone commented, yeah, so Binance says it has already unblocked 90%. Yep, that is correct. Binance did indeed comment that. However, again, it could be a matter of you know, certain blockages not being tied to this. Could be a matter of certain things being held private. So I wouldn't celebrate too ecstatically just yet, but at the same time, again, we are talking about Binance, who are the best of the best. So they'll be the first to, you know, they'll be the first to iron this out. And again, on the, you know, on the tail of that, I suppose, we also have the good news that actually we've managed, with our support and with the help of the C.A.T community, with the cooperation of the C.A.T community, to also unblock some people who have been blocked by exchanges. Of course, Binance being the main one here, but we got through the first batch of support requests successfully. And we now have people whose funds have been frozen, whose funds are now unfrozen by exchanges. So it is moving, but it's just moving, you know, at the rate at which very formal, and boring things move. No other way to put it, really. Right, there is another question, last question. Oh, there's 5 questions from Raj Kumar. Okay. I think I'll go through this one, and then that's probably the last one I have time for. So can we see auto reinvest option in the new C.A.T system? This has been asked absolutely endlessly. And on the smart contract that's coming out now, we won't have it, but we will. We've been considering it. It's just one of those, you know, it's one of those things, again, that's not at the top of the priority list. So it floats around, but I can't promise it at this stage of development, unfortunately. Can we have extra bonuses or rewards like iPads, laptops, etc., based on companies' daily profits? People who are building teams. Since it will be a boost to grow the business, it will motivate members to create big teams. To an extent, I agree with that, but I think one of the most important things with giveaways, one of the most important things with prizes, is that anyone can win. And I think the format in which we conduct it right now is kind of more appropriate than just, you know, giving it to certain people and making it a case of being noticed, because I think there's something inherently unfair, or at least there's something people perceive as being inherently unfair about that kind of thing. And I really don't like being unfair. I think that this whole platform from the ground up has been built on fairness and has been built on equality and has been built on the fact that we're giving everyone access to crypto arbitrage. So it's just not, I get the sentiment, but it's not how we look at giveaways here at C.A.T. What is the difference between C.A.T's old and new smart contract? We have to bear more changes, bear more charges, sorry. No. So there's not going to be, can you provide us with the animated video presentations of C.A.T? What would the animated video presentations be? Is the Telegram stickers? Maybe? I'm not too sure. Since KYC is compulsory in the new C.A.T system, how many accounts can one individual make on one name? We are sticking with our policy of no duplicate accounts. This is mostly in the interest of not having people abuse the referral system, because again, I've said this before and I'll say it again, we're trying to do a good thing. We don't want, you know, not very good people coming along and essentially just trying to abuse the system to make a quick buck. That's not what we're about. That's not what we want our community to be about. And that's not the kinds of people that we want to attract. So that policy is very much staying. Does the new platform have options to see our direct referral teams? Name, email, mobile number. This is a must. I wouldn't say it's a must. I mean, it's a data thing. It's very much a data thing. We don't collect that kind of data, never and process it or publish it. So it would be a big step up for us. Again, this is something we could have a look at if there is significant demand, but it's just not. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. Actually, it's not. Oh, hold on. There we go. Yeah, it's not something that it's not something that's very easy to implement, and it's not something that I think is that necessary, to be honest. I think the way that we work now with just wallet numbers and just volume is probably fine for the majority of people. At the end of the day, you could always keep track of who you signed up with. It's not it's not the end of the world. So I'll make a note of this, and if it keeps cropping up, we'll think about bringing this in. But it's a big jump for us in terms of data and in terms of the privacy of each individual community member. So it's not something we are looking at right now. And that being the last question, I guess I'll wrap up. I mean, all I really have to say towards the end is I really want to push on that point again of please respect every individual involved with the project, whether it's me or whether it's one of our leaders or whether it's one of our support staff or whether it's someone working on the website that you've come in contact with. Just in any case, I think, show compassion and respect towards your fellow CAT community member. And of course, I'm saying this for the one bad apple rather than the bunch, but I think you get the point. And with all that said, we are at 5 o'clock now. I think I'm going to wrap up. I'll probably be doing another one of these on Tuesday next week. If I could scratch the time together, it might be at a different time of day, but I'll try and stick to 4 p.m. for you guys. Anyways, all that being said, I am immensely grateful for you all for coming today. I will probably be seeing you next week in another one of these. I'll have some more materials prepped. We might do another round of questions too. But until then, I love you all, guys, and I will see you very, very soon. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for listening to me waffle. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I'll be back shortly.